Got it? Okay.
Another one.
So if you can calculate the wire allowance for this box, you got a 14-2 going to a switch, and you got a 12-2 going to a receptacle. And the allowance for number 14 is 2 cubic inches per wire, and the volume allowance for number 12 is 2.25. So solve for that box fill.
We're looking for the box size.
I want to see that. I want to know how big the box has to be. I'm not asking you. I'm asking you how many cubic inches is required for this box. I'm not asking for the box size because there's different box sizes we can pick from. I want to know the cubic inch capacity, and then I can pick my box size.
I'm gonna throw a number out there. I know I'm
Well, also go back to those 6 steps. Cable clamps, wire size, yokes, all that, grounds. Don't just guess. Actually do the math. And if you go to files, there'll be the 6 steps right there already printed out for you. So you don't have to go through the PowerPoint to look at it.
Good.
You said you determined the ground as the largest, one of the largest conductor.
Well, what does it say in the rules? What does it say in the rules about grounds? I think that's rule number 4 or 5. The grounds count as how many?
1.
1. And they are sized by the
Largest conductor.
largest conductor. Thank you. So anybody got an answer for me yet?
You said in box sizing, right? The files?
If you go to files, you should see like a PDF on box size, and it'll give you the rules for box sizing without having to look at the PowerPoint. I think it's like 6 steps or whatever for box sizing. Anybody got an answer yet?
Okay, I get 28.
So,
I got 28 cubic inches. Do I hear 26?
I got 17.
17?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a lot, we're out there. 28 and 17 is a big difference. Anybody else?
29.
Oh, 29. Okay, don't be afraid to put out your numbers. You know, this is part of learning. You don't have to be right.
I'm just gonna bring a 4SD.
No, you're not going to get great 4SD. You're going to figure out the box size. How many cubic inches do I need?
Thanks for that pro tip, Professor.
I heard 17. I heard 28. That's a big difference. Anybody else have anything for me? All right. I give up. You guys aren't playing along.
Still, no, I want to. I just, I see some of the splices, so it's gonna. I don't know. I'd like to do.
That doesn't count. Okay, let's look at it.
Right, you said that, but I'm reading rule number 1. Okay,
Right.
got it. All right. That's-
All these wires are terminating in the box, number 1. They're not passing through, there's no loops. Okay, so for our wires, we have 14-2, we have 2 conductors. We have 12-2, twice, so we have 4 conductors. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, see that.
Then we have 2 cable clamps, and they count as the largest conductor in the box. So that's one more number 12 conductor.
What are the cable clamps? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
These
I
things
don't
right
know
here.
what that is. Okay.
Oh, I see. Got it. Okay. Thank
See
you.
these
Yeah.
things?
Show each thing to me, Professor.
Yeah.
So these things are the cable clamps that are holding the cable into the box.
Got it.
We have 2 ground wires. We have a number 14 and we have a number 12. Well, guess what? They count as the largest conductor. So we got one more number 12. Then the switch, which has a yoke, and it has number 14 on it, so it counts as 2 number 14 conductors. The receptacle has number 12 on it, so it counts as 2 number 12 conductors. Does everybody see this so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you show me each wire just real quick? For each, which is going into each receptacle?
Okay, well, here's your 14-2. It's going to this switch. So that's where
I
we
see
get
that. Yeah, 2. I see that.
the allowance for 2. It's not because 2 wires are on it.
Okay.
Remember, the
That's what's
yoke or switch counts as 2 wires. If you look at this one, it's got 4 wires on it, but it still counts as 2 conductors. It's the strap or the yoke. So we have a total of 4 number 14 conductors and 8 number 12 conductors. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
36.
Let's go back to the beginning. Here's my 1 14-2 conductor coming in, right?
When you
Yes.
say conductor, do you also mean wire? Is that just another word for wire?
Well, this is Romex, okay? So 14-2, 14 is the size of the Romex, and 2 is the number of conductors that are in that Romex.
So what are the conductors?
A conductor is a hot or a neutral.
36.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
All right.
As to where the ground wire, which is a bare wire, is separate.
And that's what are connected to the green screws in this picture?
Yeah, where the green screw is and it's going to the box, that's your grounding wire.
Got it. Okay.
Look at Romex when you buy it, or if you go back to that PowerPoint I have on wiring methods, it shows Romex. You can see that Romex, like a 14-2, will have a white wire, a black wire that are insulated, and then it'll have a bare ground wire. Okay? So we're looking at this. So we have 14-2, so we have 2 conductors. We got 2 12-2s, so we have 4 conductors. Cable clamps count as 1, and that's the largest conductor in the box, so it's number 12. All our ground wires count as 1, but they're the largest conductor, and the largest ground wire in the box is number 12. And then we have a switch, which is a yoke here, that has number 14 on it, so we count 2 more 14s. And then we have a receptacle, which has number 12 on it, so that's 2 number 12s. So our total for this box is 4 number 14 conductors and 8 number 12 conductors. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
You do the math,
26.
and you need at least 26 cubic inches, so a 4S deep or 5S box is required. Because both of those boxes would do it.
Hey, I got the right box. Sweet.
Yeah, but you didn't get the right number.
I know.
You're just like, oh, I'm just going 4S deep. But you gotta understand how it works.
No, absolutely, you're correct.
Learning from the best.
Okay. Now here's something else that comes into play. With newer switch rings and plaster rings, they'll actually have a cubic inch capacity added to the ring. So for example, this is a 5S, looks like 1/2 inch raised, single gang switch ring, and I could add 5.5 cubic inches to my box allowance if I was really getting down to the nitty gritty and going, oh man, that the 5S deep didn't quite work, but this gives me 5.5 more cubic inches. That only works if it is stamped on the ring. Older rings in older houses, they never came up with the cubic inch capacity because it's this volume that the ring is protruding from the box actually gives you a little bit more cubic inch capacity. But to able to calculate that into your calculations, it has to be stamped on the face of the ring with the cubic inch capacity. And if it's an older ring, it won't even have that on there. Okay, that is box sizing. Any questions on that before we move to pull box sizing? All right, a pull box is generally a larger box. You could have a 5S pull box or a 4SD pull box. But a pull box is a box that gives you a pulling point, but there's no device or anything mounted in that box. It's just a pull point. Reason for that is when you're doing conduit bending, you can't have more than 360 degrees between pull points, which is 490s. Because you're pretty much just pulling around a big circle. And when I was teaching conduit bending, I always stress to the students is regardless of what you're doing, as soon as you hit 270 degrees, put in a pull box or some type of pull point. And that way, when you're actually installing the wire and doing all the work, you're not killing yourself trying to, because just think, if you're trying to pull something through an entire circle, the less amount of angles you have to go through, the easier it is to pull. But pull box sizing is, compared to box sizing, is really simple. So let's take a look at it. We have a straight pull. Now the straight pull is a pull that enters one end of a box and exit the opposite end. It doesn't have to be in line. So for example, if I had a conduit down here, and I was pulling wire like this, that's still considered a straight pull because it enters one end of the box and exits the other. Even though this is a straighter pull, these are both considered straight pulls. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, so an angle pull is where the conduit enters one side of a box and exits an adjacent side. So it would come up the top or the bottom or whatever. And then the U-pull is where it enters one side and comes out the other. So it's just like, all you're doing is you're making this a pull point, and then your conduit's moving on, going to another way. So we have the straight pull, the angle pull, and the U-pull.
Professor,
Yeah,
what if it's coming, what if it's going from bottom to the box straight up? That would be a straight pull?
okay.
Like say,
Let me do this, okay? So I got a conduit coming in like this,
yes,
and it's coming down like this.
yes,
Okay, that's a straight
Straight
pull.
pull.
got it.
Okay, because remember, straight pull is where it enters one side of the box
Alright,
and exits the opposite side.
got it.
An angle pull is where it enters one side and opposites an adjacent side. So this is an angle pull. And then a U-pull is where they enter both sides and they just go in and out.
Got it.
Well,
Thank
like I
you.
said, a straight pull does not have to be perfectly straight. As long as one side of the box exiting the opposite side, it's still considered a straight pull, not an angle pull. Got it?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so straight pull. It's simple. You take the size, the largest size of the conduit, and multiply it by 8, and that's how long that box has to be. So here we have a 3-inch conduit coming in with a straight pull. 8 times 3 is 24. So this box would have to be at least 24 inches in length. Now obviously it's going to have to be big enough to accommodate that 3-inch conduit. So I'd probably say this would be like a 24 by 6 or something. So you just take 8 times the trade size diameter, and that's the straight pull. Simple dimple. An angle or U-pull, with angle or U-pulls made in the box, the distance between each raceway entry of the box and the opposite wall of the box must not be less than 6 times the trade diameter of the largest conduit, and that distance must be increased for all additional raceways by the amount of the sum of their total diameter of all raceway entries on the same wall pull box. Also, the distance between raceway entries shall not be less than 6 times the trade size of the largest conduit. So, let's take a look at that. So here we have an angle pull. Row 1, if you're looking at row 1, you have 2-inch conduit. 6 times 2 is 14 inches. Row 2, you have 3-inch, 3-inch, and a 2-inch. So looking at row 2, we have 6 times 3, the largest conduit, plus 3, plus 2, which tells us we need 23 inches. So we would pretty much need a 24 by 24 pull box to do this, because pull boxes are like 12 by 12, 8 by 8, 16 by 16, 24 by 24. I mean, there's different sizes, but generally they're square. So you just you take the largest conduit and add the other two conduits that happen to be in that pole and box. Now, notice I'm not adding these other conduits here because they're not part of the angle pole. Because you got to look at, when you're looking at it, you may have some straight poles, you may have some angle poles, and you may have some U poles. And the thing on that is, you would have to calculate for each one. And then whichever is the biggest is what you would take.
And the raceway is just the wire running through the box. Inside the box.
That's the conduit. See these things that
Oh, okay.
look like little pipes? Those
Yep.
are raceways.
Okay, good.
Okay? And so like here's dimension Z. This is a dimension on an angle pole where you couldn't have like 2 inch here and 2 inch down here unless you had at least 6 times the trade size diameter. So angle Z would have to be at least 12 inches long if I was pulling from this conduit to this conduit. So obviously if I went from this conduit to this conduit, probably not going to give me my 12 inches. So see if you can solve that for an angle pull.
The answers are in the book, Professor. Oh no, never mind.
You're wrong. 28 by 28.
All right, how do you figure that?
Well, 4 times 6 is 24 plus 2 plus 2.
Okay.
28. And then the other side is the same. 28 by 20.
So you would need 28 by 28, and these distances, don't forget the distances between conduits, because this is 2 inch, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, and then distance E, so 6 times 4 is 24. So those are the distances you would have to also deal with. And the whole thing with this is you may have a box that has angle pulls and U pulls and straight pulls. And then what you have to do is you have to size that box to the largest pull. So if the straight pull ends up being bigger than the angle pull, then you have to size it to the straight pull. If the angle pull or the U pull is bigger than the straight pull, then you do it the other way. Got it?
Professor, question. How did you get distance A again?
Okay, distance A. If you go
Multiply by
back
6.
to angle pull, you take 6 times the largest conduit.
Yes.
So 6 times 4 is 24.
Plus 2
Plus 2 plus 2.
Got it.
And that's how you get 28.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But then again, with the angle pull, you only calculate the actual angle pull itself. So if there's another conduit on that wall that's a straight pull, that wouldn't come into your angle pull measurement.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is, okay, let's just do this. I'm going to change this a little. Let's say I got a 2 inch right here, and now this one is a straight pull. Okay, so what would my straight pull be?
You times it by 12, right?
No. What do you times it by?
8. I'm sorry, 8.
8.
Right. So it'd be 16.
So for straight pull going on here and here. So now it's 4 times 6 plus 2. I wouldn't count this because this isn't an angle pull, it's a straight pull. So for this instance, it would be 24. So I could probably get away with a 24 by 24 because this is a straight pull, not an angle pull. Got it?
Why wouldn't you count that last one?
Because it's a
Because it's straight pull. I mean, aren't all of them, all the raceways straight pulls? We're just imagining, right?
No, these are angle pulls here.
Right.
And I eliminated this and made it a straight pull.
Got it. Okay.
So even though you have these conduits, all these conduits are here
right
on your angle pull, but this one's a straight pull, so you would calculate that as a straight pull and not part as your angle pull calculation.
Got it, yeah. Yeah, and straight is 8. Angled is 6.
And in any
It's
case,
6
you would
times
size
the
it
largest
based-
conduit plus all the other angle pulls.
And you'd always base it off of whatever the largest requirement is, right?
Okay, so here's the combination pull. So when there are more than one type of pull brought into the same box, you must calculate the required dimensions for each type. Then you would use the largest dimension for that. So there you go. Calculate your straight pull, your angle pull, and your U pull. And by the way, I must say, this is a real cool PowerPoint that I put together.
I like the challenge.
I drew all this. Come on. This just didn't happen.
We're proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I hope one day I can go to your class. Be part of Sam's Pronto.
You're always welcome. I just
Oh,
figured.
you know what? I'm just teasing you. And you know what? I
Okay.
must say, it is you're working with other people, and that's what you need to do when you're in the electrical program. Is don't try to be a lone ranger.
I know
So
I could
what's
use
my
the help.
straight pull?
Okay.
24?
15? 24? Ooh.
I only
I'm
got
doing
one
something
straight
wrong.
pull,
Yeah.
right?
So I think 15? Yeah, only one straight pull. So
Yeah.
2.5 times 6, 15?
What? What's the
No.
straight pull? Largest conduit.
It's 2.5.
No.
Oh,
Three.
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 You're right.
It's
Okay,
right here,
but how-
3 inch.
You're right.
3 inch times 8.
Tricky. Yeah.
Wait, but how do
24.
we figure it out without the length of the box?
Well, we're gonna figure all that out. We're gonna figure out what we need, what size box we need. So right now, from this wall to this wall with a straight pull, we're gonna need at least 24 inches, right?
Yep.
Okay. What about our angle pull?
You gotta give me a second for that.
What numbers are you using for that equation?
Use the largest number times 6 plus the other conduits.
Where are you getting 6 from?
Well, that's the rule.
I see the 3, so then
No. Okay. So for a straight pull, you take the largest conduit and you multiply it by 8. And that's the distance between the walls of the box. Okay?
You always
For
times it by
angle
6.
pull- Huh?
You said you always multiply it by 6.
No, that's for an angle pull. For the angle pull, you multiply it by 6, and then you add all the other conduits. So let's take a look at it. Our straight pull. 3 times 8 is 24. So that's the straight pull. Our angle pull.
19 and a half. Oh.
We have 2.5 times 6 plus 2.5 plus 2. Okay?
Right.
That's where we get the 19. The U pull, we get 2 times 6 plus 2 is 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
So that's where we get 16, that's where we get 19 and a half. And so our box has to be at least 24 inches for these pulls to work.
Okay, I have a question, Professor, again.
Another one.
For the